I'm looking at John 7 through 8 now on my journey here as I'm dodging mosquitoes. Here, it's kind of that time of year. And they must really love me because every time I stop somewhere, they're just like, doo, 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 doo. Look at them. What? No. Get. All right. I'm probably gonna get bit. I hope not. Stay away from me. Okay. Chapter 7 of John. If I could find it. Where are you? Oh, there we go. After these things, so this is Jesus teaching at the feast. After these things, Jesus was walking in Galilee, for he was unwilling to walk in Judea because the Jews were seeking to kill him there. Now the feast of the Jews, the feast of booths, was near. Therefore his brother said to him, "Leave here and go into Judea, so that your disciples also may see your works which you are doing. For no one does anything in secret when he himself seeks to be known publicly. If you do these things, show yourself to the world." So he's questioning him here. If you do these things, show yourself to the world. Verse 5, for not even his brothers were believing in him. So Jesus said to them, "My time is not yet here, but your time is always opportune. The world cannot hate you, but it hates me because I testify of it, that its deeds are evil. Go up to the feast yourselves. I do not go up to this feast, because my time has not yet fully come." Having said these things to them, he stayed in Galilee. But when his brothers had gone up to the feast, then he himself also went up, not publicly, but as if in secret. So the Jews were seeking him at the feast and were saying, "Where is he?" There was much grumbling among the crowds concerning him. Some were saying, "He is a good man." Others were saying, "No, on the contrary, he leads the people astray." Yet no one was speaking openly of him for fear of the Jews. But when it was now the midst of the feast, Jesus went up to the temple and began to teach. So he basically, that's very interesting. He was unwilling to walk in Judea. The feast of the Jews was near, the feast of booths. Therefore his brother said, "Leave here and go to Judea." Jesus said to them, "My time is not yet here, but your time is always opportune. Go up to the feast yourselves. I do not go up to this feast because my time has not yet fully come." So he wasn't lying. He's basically saying, I do not go up to this feast, as it were, publicly. And he didn't want it to be reported. He wanted to go up properly in his way. But it was proper that he should go, so he went. But he didn't tell him he was not going. He just said he was not going up publicly. But they didn't understand, so that's very interesting. So he began to teach. The Jews then were astonished, saying, "How has this man become learned, having never been educated?" So Yeshua answered them and said, "My teaching is not mine, but his who sent me. If anyone is willing to do his will, he will know of the teaching, whether it is of God or whether I speak for myself. My teaching is not mine, but him who sent me. If anyone is willing to do his will, he will know of the teaching, whether is it of God or whether I speak from myself. If you're willing to do the will of God, then you can judge. That's pretty important. If anyone is willing. That's a good, very important part. He who speaks from himself seeks his own glory. He who speaks from himself seeks his own glory, but he who is seeking the glory of the one who sent him, he is true, and there is no unrighteousness in him, testifying of himself. And we equating himself with God right here, because no one is good but God alone. Jesus said it before. And he says, but he who is seeking the glory of the one who sent him, he is true, and there is no unrighteousness in him. He's right here. He's equating himself with God. Equality. Equal with God. Did not Moses give you the law? And yet none of you carries out the law. Why do you seek to kill me? The crowd answered, you have a demon who seeks to kill you. Oh, they don't like that accusation. Why are you seeking to kill me? The crowd answered, you have a demon who seeks to kill you. The crowd answered, Jesus answered them, I did one deed, and you all marvel. For this reason Moses has given you circumcision, not because it is from Moses, but from the fathers, and on the Sabbath you circumcise a man. If a man receives circumcision on the Sabbath, so that the law of Moses will not be broken, are you angry with me because I made an entire man well on the Sabbath? If a man receives circumcision on the Sabbath, so that the law of Moses will not be broken, are you angry with me because I made an entire man well on the Sabbath? Do not judge according to appearance, but judge with righteous judgment. So some of the people of Jerusalem were saying, is this not the man whom they are seeking to kill? Look, he is speaking publicly, and they're saying nothing to him. The rulers do not really know that this is the Christ, do they? So they're noticing, they're saying they want him dead. It's known. Enough grumbling and people talking to know they want him dead. And what they're saying publicly anyhow. And he's talking publicly, and they're not doing anything. Here he is. But they say, oh, and most importantly, they're like, they don't know he is Messiah, do they? However, we know where this man is from. But wherever the Christ may come, no one knows where he is from. Well, even though the scripture said he'll be born in Bethlehem, he'll be called a Nazarene. But then Jesus cried out in the temple, teaching and saying, you both know me and know where I am from, and I have not come of myself, but he who sent me is true, whom you do not know. Wow. He's saying, you don't know God. I know him because I am from him, and he sent me. So they were seeking to seize him, and no man laid their hand on him because his hour had not yet come, as he had said. But many of the crowd believed in him, and were saying, when the Christ comes, he will not perform more signs than those which this man has, will he? The Pharisees heard the crowd muttering these things about him, and the chief priests and the Pharisees sent officers to seize him. Therefore Jesus said, for a little while longer. Sorry, I need to get better at reading. Therefore Jesus said, for a little while longer I am with you. Then I go to him who sent me. You will seek me and will not find me, and where I am you cannot come. Then hawk. Let's see if we can see him. I got the little hawk around here somewhere. There's the observatory in the haze. Huh, maybe he just flew over. Sounded kind of like he was stationary. Well, what amazing... Isn't that tree? Oh, there it is. Is that a red tail? Those little mockingbirds don't like it. Hey, boy. Hmm. Maybe he's looking for a wife. Anyway. My favorite is when they fly with the little babies. And you can see them teaching, like one will fly and then these little tiny ones behind him and he's like, and this one's like, show him the maneuvers. Anyway, where were we? They were seeking to seize him, and no man laid their hand on him because the hour was not had come. But so people were angry, kind of a tumult, but many believed, and they were saying, Messiah, I mean, the signs this guy's done. The Jews said to one another, where does this man intend to go that we will not find him? He is not intending to go to the dispersion among the Greeks and teach the Greeks, is he? I guess the dispersion of Jews living amongst the Greeks. What is this statement that he said? You will seek me and you will not find me, and where I go you cannot come. Or where I am you cannot come. Now on the last day, the great day of the feast, Jesus stood and cried out, saying, if anyone is thirsty, let him come to me and drink. He who believes in me, as the scripture said, from the innermost being will flow rivers of living water. Oh, that's for Ray Comfort. Living waters. He who believes, as the scripture said. So we must go to the Old Testament for that. They said, he who believes in Messiah, from his innermost being will flow rivers of living water. But this he spoke of the Spirit, whom those who believed in him were to receive. For the Spirit was not yet given, because Jesus was not yet glorified. Some of the people, therefore, when they heard these words, were saying, this certainly is the prophet. Didn't recognize him, see? Others were saying, this is the Messiah, this is the Christ. Still others were saying, surely the Christ is not going to come from Galilee, is he? Has not the scripture said that the Christ comes from the descendants of David and from Bethlehem, the village where David was? They didn't know he was from Bethlehem. So a division occurred in the crowd because of him. Some of them wanted to seize him, but no one laid their hands on him. The officers then came to the chief priests and the Pharisees, and they said to them, why did you not bring him in? The officers answered, never a man spoke the way this man speaks. Or in the NSB, never has a man spoken the way this man speaks. The Pharisees then answered them, you have not also been led astray, have you? No one of the rulers of Pharisees has believed in him, has he? But the crowd which does not know the law is accursed. Wow. So they're basically saying we know everything. These people are stupid. they're accursed. Nicodemus, he who came to him before being one of them, said to them. So he's not about to, I guess, openly proclaim, but he says, our law does not judge a man unless it first hears from him and knows what he is doing, does it? So he gives kind of a weak defense, it seems to me. They answered him, you are not also from Galilee, are you? Search and see that no prophet arises out of Galilee. Everyone went to his home. Search the scriptures. Everyone went to his home. Now, that's chapter 7. That's 15 minutes. That's pretty good. John 7. Amazing as is all of Scripture.